Good evening, Fernwood. My name's Neil, and I am watching one episode a day of the cult classic soap opera from the 1970s, Mary Hartman. Mary Hartman, thank you so much again for joining me. You didn't come for this, but I've got this in my monitor, so I'm just going to show it off. It's a little pin in the shape of a hearse, and it has a little coffin that goes inside. Let's catch you up a little bit in case you're skipping to this episode after weeks of not watching. I hope you're watching every single day because that's my plan, to post every weekday. Here's what you missed on the January 12th episode. First thing is that Mary got her sex education books. Yay, Mary! Good for you! I hope you get over that shame. In the office, there's a hot new lady called May who happens to be a little bit flirty with Charlie. Charlie has invited May to the demo that he's finally able to make happen for Loretta. Also at work, Charlie and Tom have started to broach the subject of the bedroom issues that Tom and Mary have been experiencing and that Charlie and Loretta have been chatting about in the rumor mill. And Tom is definitely in denial of anything happening in his bedroom. There's a lot of denial in this show. Grandpa Larkin has finally met his psychiatric social worker, and she seems to have taken a shine to him in a potentially romantic way. And at the end of the episode, Mary's daughter Heather runs in. She has been followed home from school by a man, and we don't know for sure, but that man may be the person who made the scary phone call to Mary just a couple of episodes earlier. This is the January 13th episode of Mary Hartman, Mary Hartman. I'm going to start it now.
Mary Hartman! Mary Hartman!
This is terrible. It's impossible that Heather knows anything about the mass murder. Murder's...
Well, how should I know? I don't even know why you think that I think that it's possible.
No, I didn't say you did. I asked you if you did.
Mary,
What?
let's have a cup of coffee.
You want a cup of coffee at a time like this? How do they do it?
What, commit mass murder?
No, make freeze-dried coffee. Isn't it funny how the human mind works? I mean, here
Well, I think it's all the same. Freeze-dried perk, regular ink.
Kathy, I'm talking about my daughter. The thing about the coffee was just a stray thought.
That seems to be a common theme
I
in
suppose
this show.
it happens that...
I'm hungry.
Well, no wonder you didn't eat lunch.
If you know anything about the Lombardi murders, you must tell us.
I don't want to talk about it.
Heather, you've got to talk about it.
I'm going upstairs.
No, Heather, you are not going to your room. Not at a time like this. Now sit down here. Now sit down. If you don't tell me what you know about the mass murder, I'm going to have to go to the police.
Why?
To protect your life.
Right.
So, what's it going to be, Heather? Are you going
that
to talk
is
to
a
us, or are
real
you
reason
going to go and
to
talk
call
to
the police in
Now,
this
before you
case.
answer that, but the Lombardis just moved into the neighborhood. You hardly knew her. Why'd you pick her?
Well, for one thing, nobody else wanted to be my partner.
And what was the other reason?
That feeling.
Sweetheart, sweetheart, never be ashamed of solving the mystery of a mass murder. Now.
Good advice.
Well, I went over to the Lombardi's house that day.
Well, Mrs. Hartman, how nice to see you again.
I wish the feeling were mutual. You're okay?
I want to go.
You're not going anywhere. You're going to stay right here.
But I want to
It's
go.
down the hall, the first door on the right.
A different kind of I want to go.
How did you know? That's very interesting.
Why don't you bring the ladies inside and see if the lieutenant wants to book them, and then we'll sort out the rest of the stuff later.
And I guess that he was the murderer.
If he was, your little girl is in trouble.
Unless it was a toy gun, the kind they make out of plastic. Or maybe it was his finger. She didn't see that well, you know. Could it have been a toy man? I mean, she said he was short. My little girl's in trouble, huh?
I think this is before orange tips on toy guns were normal.
Mary? Hello, anybody home? Is Loretta here?
No, Mary's not here either. Oh, look at Heather. She leaves her books all over the place. I don't know where the heck they are. You want to hear?
Oh, no, thanks. If I don't find Loretta by 5 o'clock, I gotta cancel the recording session.
Oh, that's a shame. I'm really sorry, Charlie.
Well, I'm gonna have to work
Sorry,
something
Charlie.
out. After all, leaving
Chunky
your
tuna.
anniversary. You and your climax.
Huh? What?
Orgasm. I didn't know you went in for sex books.
Give me my books. No way. What do you think? I'm some kind of pervert?
From the library.
Education is not perversion.
Can't take out books like this.
She took the books out. That's her card. Are you and Mary having trouble with you and your climax? What is this? You got a note from Mary on this. That's a note from Mary, isn't it? It says Mary.
The note was on the can of Schlitz.
We're at the police station. Mary and Loretta have been busted.
What would they be arrested for?
I don't know. You think maybe for running a pornographic bookstore?
Wake up, Four Eyes. All right, we're going to try it again now. Is this what the man looks like?
No, I told you before. He looks orange.
All right, come on. Who's in charge here? Who's quarterbacking this team? Now listen, my wife has been arrested illegally, and I demand that she be released immediately.
Mary, what's going on here? What were you arrested for?
Oh, I wasn't arrested. Loretta was.
Loretta, where's my wife?
Blanche, what is the meaning of this? Don't you know I have a reputation? My wife cannot go around town getting arrested.
Oh, go do a push-up.
What happened, honey?
Oh, it's all right, baby boy. They're not going to press any charges.
All right, Mrs. Hartman. What we're going to have to do is assign a plainclothesman on 24-hour duty to protect your daughter.
What kind of sidearm you carry?
Smith & Wesson 38.
Is the coffee all right?
I thought maybe it might be a 350 Magnum, you know.
I think the coffee's weak. I usually get Mountain Grown. This must be from the slopes. Are you sure Officer Gunderson can't come in?
No, one of us has to maintain surveillance in the vehicle out front.
You ever kill anyone?
Tom!
Oh, that's all right, ma'am.
No, I didn't mean you. It's just for Heather. I meant for Heather.
That's a normal topic of conversation.
Sorry, ma'am. I got a little carried away when I talked shop.
Oh, good morning.
Heather! You look so pretty. Could you just speak up, please? Just speak up. What? What? Heather?
Woo! Wow, that, the emotions are coming for me. That's what's going on. Of course, there's the problem with the escalation of Heather's situation. Mary brings Heather to the police station to ask for protection. While at the station, we run into the protesters, which include Loretta and Blanche and some unnamed folks. Of course, then Blanche's husband and Charlie get aware of it a little bit later down the episode. Charlie and Tom discover the books that Mary and Kathy were reading, and it causes kind of a big blow up. And when I say kind of it was just a big blow up. Then they figure out that they need to get themselves to the station because there was a note left on Tom Schlitz can that Charlie noticed. At the station, Heather waffles about whether or not she's going to help with the investigation, and I'm not exactly clear how much information they were able to get from Heather, but Heather has now been assigned a plainclothes police officer to be her protection in home, and Tom seems to be challenging some of that authority there, or at least trying to assert his manliness. It's not exactly stated It's just something that I'm picking up on. And finally, a phone call to Mary that causes a lot of stress. So I'll process a little bit of what I'm feeling right now. In general, in this show, I gotta say, the level of professionalism in the various jobs in this town, the police officers, the social workers, not exactly the highest level, but you know, it probably makes for better storytelling when people have more allegiance to their human needs than their professional needs. Another thing that's resonating with me is how much marketing lingo sort of works its way into the dialogue. Last episode it was chunky tuna, and the first episode it was waxy yellow buildup, and now it's mountain grown or on the slopes. Those little bits of information that are entirely informed by the way commercials were in your face in that period, and especially the television viewing period. This is way before the internet, so this, oh my gosh, now I'm flashing back to spoonfuls of coffee that came in a jar. That was the way coffee was enjoyed as far as I knew it, and it didn't get back to, you know, grinding your own beans until Starbucks came around, you know, 20 years later. There's a lot going on in this show, and I'm so glad to be watching it, and so glad that you are joining me to watch this. That was the January 13th, 1976 episode of Mary Hartman. Mary Hartman, thank you again for joining, and we will see you tomorrow night in Fernwood.